I just finished analyzing the Stephen Paddock autopsy report. And this, of course, from the coroner. The coroner's name is Lisa Gavin, and that is confirmed. The link to this complete report is going to be in the description area, so you can go see it for yourself. But I read all of it, and I found some very interesting things that I want to expose and talk about in this video right here. And we're going to get right into this. Yeah. Very interesting indeed. And what I'm going to talk about in this, I think, is going to probably make this video go viral and receive a lot of comments, because some things stand out in this that just do not make sense at all. Of course, Stephen Paddock, the supposed gunman shooter at the Mandalay Hotel, 58 people killed, hundreds injured, and of course it's been just a mystery and so much. It's been like a big cover-up. They're not revealing very much evidence. No surveillance video. I've covered this extensively since the beginning, when it started, of course, on October 1st, 2017. And yeah, we just exposed a lot of things, revealed a lot of things, and we're going to continue to do this. And this you're going to find very interesting right here. So let's get right into this. Autopsy report. This is the pathological examination of the body of Stephen Craig Paddock. Pathological findings. And as I said also, coroner Lisa Gavin. Okay, so get into this right here, right now. Okay, so this is talking about the gunshot wound to his head right here. And when you go down to D, it says exit, no corresponding exit. So I thought that was kind of interesting. No corresponding exit. And it gives the detail. Some of this, of course, I edited out because I want you to be able to focus in on what I'm talking about here in the reading. But this is from the report right here. Yeah, D, exit, no corresponding exit. So apparently what it's saying is that the bullet went in through the head but never left the head. So, the question is, apparently it was a handgun. Should have it exited? I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. Now, this next part. Right here. 3, blunt force injuries to extremities. Now, this is interesting also because, if we talk about the theory that I mentioned where he may have been held against his will by any unknown or unknown individuals. And of course, I also talk about, the possibility of experimentation, government experimentation, Project Naomi, Project MK Ultra, which is, the evidence has shown, of course, it's happened in the past. It very well could still be going on. So the question is, was he an experiment? Was he part of an experiment? You have those hoses and all that strange stuff. You have that woman that looks like the hose is hooked to her. So was there some experimentation going on that he took part in that went bad and made him possibly go off and start shooting people? That's the possibility too. All those type of experiments that I talked about and revealed. So that's something else we certainly have to consider here. And if so, then there's a possibility that he was abused also, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video also. Here you have blunt force injuries to extremities, abrasions of the right upper calf, faint contusion of left calf, abrasion of right knee. So something was hitting him. And it's interesting too because remember a few days ago I put a video up and I talked about how somebody gave me inside information out of California, and this individual saw apparently the pictures or whatever of these injuries, and his opinion of it was that from what he saw from experience, that it would be from maybe like a police billy stick being hit with something like that. So I don't know. Is it or not? I don't know. That's just interesting because, I get all this information, which is wonderful because people trust me because I'm honest and I protect their identity. So they reveal all kind of intriguing and interesting information. And I have something else I'm going to work on today that somebody called me about. But yeah, so that's interesting. It really is right there. What's going on there? Okay, this next part here. This is a game changer. This just is hard to even comprehend. This caught my attention. Okay, so what we know is that supposedly Stephen Paddock, they're saying, put a gun to his head and committed suicide, right? So basically put a bullet into his brain, which would pretty much should cause instant death. From the way they're describing that it went into the brain and all, it should cause pretty quick death. Now, some people do receive bullet wounds to the head in certain areas to where they might live a little while. And some people receive bullets to the head where it just grazed the brain or went through a certain corner of the brain and they survive. They might have some mental damage or maybe minor mental damage or maybe even major, but they might survive. But we have nothing like that has been mentioned in regards to this. Everything that we understand and been told by police, FBI and all is that pretty much he committed suicide, which would be somewhere, which would be on October the 1st, 2017, somewhere around maybe 10:10 p.m., 10:15 p.m. I would say, because that's when there was the few last shots that came in, and that was supposedly the shots where he committed suicide. And did he shoot himself in the chest and in the head? I don't know. But according to a coroner report, he shot himself in the head, in the brain. And so if he shot himself in the brain, from the description of the coroner's report, it should have been pretty quick death, I would think. And law enforcement, FBI has led us to believe that he was killed pretty much instantly by committing suicide once they, breached into that room and they saw him. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. But this is where it gets very bizarre and strange right here. And this whole case has been strange, but it's saying right here, okay, let's see. Let me go back here. Okay, well, actually, I'm jumping a little ahead, but that's okay. Okay, so it says cause of death, 64-year-old man, Stephen Paddock, Craig Paddock. This is opinion, it says now up there, which I guess is what they usually use as corn. I guess they put that word in there. I don't know if they all do, but Stephen Craig Paddock died of an intraoral gunshot wound of the head. Okay, so that's oral is through the mouth. So what they're saying there is the gun was put through the mouth and pulled the trigger, and the wound to the brain and the head killed him. And the manner of death is suicide. So right there, that's what I'm telling you. And we're going to get into more about what I was jumping a little ahead of there a second, but we're going to get into that in just a second. But so that's what they're saying. The suicide, gun put into the mouth, shot through the brain, so that's pretty much instant death, I think we can agree upon. That's what law enforcement, FBI has led us to believe. Instant death. When they came into the room, he had already committed suicide. He was dead, right? Okay. So you have law enforcement officers there that should be able to, detectives, law enforcement and SWAT or whoever was in there that can verify that he had, pretty much, I'm sure, no pulse, no breathing, and pretty much that he was dead, basically. All right. So anyway, even though it might need you have a doctor to verify that, still. The thing is, he's dead. He's pretty much dead. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out when somebody's got a bullet through the mouth, in the brain, and there's no movement, dead. Okay, so there you go. I want to, that's very significant and important to talk about right now because what we're about to get into. So here she's got the, Lisa Gavin. So that confirms it was Lisa Gavin, MD, medical examiner, Clark County Coroner, Las Vegas, Nevada. And the date she has is 2/5/2018. And death by suicide. This is a picture of her right here. just in case you want to see what she looks like. I think that's during a court proceeding. It's something different from this case. But you see her name badge there, Lisa Gavin. I looked it up. That's her. That's the woman, the coroner that did the autopsy right here. So you know what she looks like. Now, this is what I want to talk about here, coroner talk. This is important because I had to do my research because I'm not an expert on what a coroner does. I know quite a bit about it, but I'm not an expert on it. So I looked this up. So how does a coroner determine the time of death? That's what we need to know. There's several times of death, and this is several times of death. Let me repeat that. There are several times of death. Times of death seem to be a simple and straightforward term that obviously means the exact time that the victim drew his last breath. Unfortunately, it's not quite that simple. There are actually 3 different types of death. Okay, so you have 3 types of death we need to look at here. The physiological time of death, when the victim's vital functions actually ceased. The legal time of death, the time recorded in the death certificate. And the estimated time of death, the time the medical examiner estimates the death occurred. So pretty much if you look at these 3, when a coroner puts the time of death in the autopsy, it should be based pretty much on when she thinks the patient, well, not the patient, but the victim died. The individual that they're doing the autopsy on, the time that they actually, death occurred. All vitals stopped, all functions, everything stopped, and they were considered dead. So I just wanted to make that clear so everybody understands that should be, which I think we should most all agree that the time should be somewhere around 10:10 or 10:15 p.m. on October 1st, 2017, right? Because that was when after they broke in the room and they said he was already dead because we heard the gunshot. And their coroner's saying that the gun was put into the mouth and the bullet went through the middle, pretty much the middle of the brain, it sounds like. So that's death, right? Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear. That's important. So we know exactly what defining the time of death by a coroner is. Now, let's see. Okay, let's see. Post-mortem examination of the body, Stephen Craig, Paddock. Okay, so the autopsy was performed on the 6th day of October 2017, commencing at 16:22 hours. And later they claim the identification of him is later confirmed by fingerprint comparison. Now, okay, yeah, I don't know. I would think that they would also use the teeth, because normally that's what they do. You have the teeth to verify from the dental office or whatever, because they have those records. But I don't know, for some reason they didn't use the teeth. They're saying it was a fingerprint comparison. I guess, I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, he didn't have a criminal record. I don't know where the fingerprint part, I mean, obviously they can use his fingerprints, but fingerprint comparison. That's interesting. Somewhere else they had his fingerprints. I don't know. I mean, you got me. But anyway, we'll go from here. The body received within a sealed body bag. Okay, and they have the seal and all in it. Let's see. Paddock Stephen T. Date of. Okay, see now this is where. Okay, this is where I send the game changer right here. This is mind-blowing right here. Maybe you can understand this. I don't understand this. Can anybody understand this? I don't know. But this is what they're saying. And like I said, I have the link in the description area. You want to go see the official report itself. It's there. You can go view all this. This part right here, go to paragraph 2. The bottom part of paragraph 2. And I'm going to actually I'm going to show you in another screenshot here in a second. But the date of death, 10/2/2017. Time of death, 1,200 hours. Investigated at 3:42. Now, how is this? This coroner is supposed to give as accurate as possible the time of death. She's saying that the time of death was on October the 2nd, 2017 at 1,200 hours. That's noon. That's noon the next day. What is that? That's like 14 hours, almost 14 hours later than what they led us to believe he was committed suicide and died of. How do you explain that? This is crazy. It's right there. I'm showing it to you. The date of death, 10/2/2017, time of death, 1,200 hours, investigated 342. So that's, yeah, that's noon the next day. How do you explain that? That doesn't make any sense at all. So was he alive? Did they know him to be alive all this time? Still alive? And they didn't tell us? I don't know. This makes no sense at all. This makes you believe more that there's some experimental crazy stuff going on. Because I can't comprehend this. You know, why are they telling us that, you know, that the gun was put in the mouth, bullet shot through the brain, he was dead when they entered the room? They said he was dead. He had committed suicide, and they said he was dead after they breached into the room. But now the coroner is saying he died the next day at noon, which is, yeah, that's like almost 14 hours later. This is crazy. This is really getting strange now. And in this shot right here, I'm showing you post-mortem examination of the body of Stephen Craig Paddock, and I edited that other part out so you can just focus on what I want you to see at the bottom. Name, Stephen Paddock, date of death, 10/2/17, time of death, 1,200 hours. CCO-CME investigator number 342. I don't know. You tell me. That's a game changer right there. Something's not right about that. I can tell you right now, something's not right about that. That makes no sense at all. They're not being honest with us. Something really, we need to expose that. We need to make this video go viral. Okay, so I'll go to the next part here. But that's wow. That's just mind-blowing right there. That completely conflicts with everything that they told us. And we know they told us a lot of things that they changed their mind on, like the timeline and all kind of other stuff. They won't show us any surveillance video. Just tons of, it's all a big cover-up and censored and everything else, and been the strangest, craziest thing. But that one right there is incredible. It truly is. That makes no sense at all. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next part here. The anterior teeth are in poor condition, with the majority of the maxillary teeth being absent. Now, okay, this is another game changer right here. This is mind-boggling also, because I'm about to expose something else. So what they're saying is the anterior teeth are in poor condition, with a majority of the maxillary teeth being absent. Now I'm going to show you where those teeth are. First, let me tell you this. Radiographs. Restorations are present within the few remaining teeth. Dental restorations remain within the few remaining teeth within the mouth. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, you remember the part I told you just a second ago? It says the majority of the maxillary teeth are being absent. So here's an image right here that shows you where the maxillary teeth are. The maxillary teeth are in the top upper part of the mouth. So these are the main teeth that you see. If you smile, touch the top part of your teeth, those teeth, the larger teeth right in that area, that's the maxillary teeth. So this autopsy is saying that those teeth are missing. But take a look at this. This is a recent picture of Stephen Paddock hanging out with one of his friends. And those teeth are in the mouth. You can see them right there. In fact, the teeth even around all that area, I don't see any teeth missing. And that's a fairly recent picture of him. So this doesn't make any sense. This contradicts what we see to be the truth here in this picture. How can that be? Unless he was part of some experience and they knocked his teeth out? Did somebody knock his teeth out before or after they killed him? Or maybe before they killed him? I don't know. Because the teeth are right there. We can see it. There they are. The ones they talk about in the top part, which are the maxillary teeth, it's very obvious, and this is a recent picture, the teeth are there. So why are the teeth missing in the autopsy? Something's not right about that. That makes you believe even more he's part of, or could it be that whoever came in there and possibly tied him up and, beat him around the lower part of the body, it sounds like, bruises and stuff like that? Did they knock his teeth out? And was it somebody that put the gun and shot him in the head to make it look like suicide? I don't know, but this stuff's not adding up. Because you can see clearly right there his teeth are in the mouth. So how did they get knocked out? And another question too is, he's a multi-millionaire. So a multi-millionaire is not going to go around with, not too many, I don't think. Do you really think a multi-millionaire is going to go around with no teeth? No. They have all kind of procedures now where they can put beautiful teeth in your mouth. Teeth that look real. Incredible procedures they can do. So why would he go around like that? That makes no sense at all. Also, see, here's something where like an interview with Eric Paddock would really come in hand. And if Eric Paddock, if you're watching this and see this, please contact me, charles1181@cox.net, because some of these things I'm going over, because I'm not so sure, they may not have even did an autopsy of him, or maybe they did, supposedly they confirmed it with the fingerprints. But if they did, there's some things that I would need to know, whether these things, he probably would know whether his brother was missing these teeth or not. And if not, then something doesn't add up. And there's other things too that his brother might know that I'm going to talk about in this video. But so here now it says the anus contains hemorrhoids. That of course is the butt. We all know what hemorrhoids are. Now why is that? I don't know. You can have surgery to correct that problem. Also, if somebody took something and just beat him in the back end, like whooped his butt, that could cause hemorrhoids, which would show up in the autopsy, which could show some type of experiment or abuse too. That's another thing. Also, we talked about how it looked like that woman that had the hose going up to her, I talked about in that video. Is that some type of sexual thing going on, certain toys and things in that area might cause hemorrhoids. I don't know. I mean, sitting long times at the slot machines, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, this is not an extremely significant thing, but it is something worth noting. And the reason I say that is because a man that's got that type of money, you can have surgeries to correct it and things, and hemorrhoids can be quite painful, so why he would be going around with those, I don't know. Would this cause him to take out his anger and shoot 58 people? I don't think so. Respiratory system. The right and left lung weigh 10, 67, 50 grams respectively. The upper and lower airways are obstructed. Now, this is something that a coroner or maybe a doctor or something could answer this question. I have quite a few doctors that have posted comments and followed my channel, and also if you can steer me in the right direction on this and leave a comment, I'd appreciate it. Of course, a coroner would be able to do it. But so what it's saying here is the right and the left lung, the upper and lower airways were obstructed. Now, the question I have, is this normal during an autopsy? Is it obstructed because the body is no longer, you're not breathing anymore, so there's not a full amount of air in the lungs? Is that why? Is this normal? The question is this normal? Is this normal for somebody that's deceased? I don't know. A doctor, a coroner could answer this question for me. This could be normal. It could be normal that the upper and lower airways obstructed. It may not be normal. It may be significant and could be a reason. So that would be a question I'd ask. And if so, why would it be obstructed? I don't know. But it could be normal because the person's deceased. I don't know. That's yet to be determined. If we can get some comments here, find out about that. Okay. Alimentary tract. The appendix is surgically absent. The pancreas contains fatty infiltration. Now, what I'm interested in talking about here is the appendix. So what this is telling us is that he had his appendix removed. And this is another part where Eric Paddock might play a role, because he would probably know, I'm sure, if his brother had his appendix removed, he might have had appendicitis, appendix attack. And if you let this go too long, it can be very dangerous because you can die. Gangrene can set in, which is poison that can kill you. So it's very likely, this is a surgery. It is a surgery. So it's very likely that if Stephen Paddock had his appendix removed, which it says here it's absent, so that means whoever this person was that did the autopsy in was missing the appendix. So what I'm saying is Stephen Paddock had an appendix removed. His brother should know about it. And if Eric comes out and says, I'm not aware of it, then there you go. The question is, what's going on here? Did they actually do an autopsy of Stephen Paddock? Because some people believe it wasn't even him because of his, we talked about that. Well, some people talked about it. I've seen comments and stuff that his height very different. The person that did the autopsy, the height, and some other things too. So that's where Eric could come in handy right here again. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's see. Radiographs. In addition, a radio opaque casing is visible within some of the radiographs of the head, neck, and chest pre-processing radiographs. Now, this is interesting too here. Now, I'm assuming what they're saying here, casing, it's got to be bullet, I would say. And so are they saying that in the radiograph, which is radiology, so that's where I guess they take the x-ray, they're saying that casing was seen in the head, which would make sense because he shot himself in the head, but it's saying the neck and the chest. So that's interesting there, because why would you have a bullet in the neck and the chest? I guess he could have shot himself in the chest before he shot himself in the head, but a person committing suicide, that would be just extremely rare to do. And then also shoot in the neck? I don't know. Because according to the way they said, the coroner's report, he put the gun into the mouth and shot a bullet through the brain up into the head. They don't say anything about the bullet exiting, but they don't say anything about being shot in the neck, him being shot in the neck of the chest that I'm aware of. So I don't know. That's something else to think about. Now, we get into this is the analysis and comments of what was found in the blood. And this is quite interesting also, because you've got arsenic here, which is, can be deadly if you get too much. Let's see, so result was 12. That's over twice the normal amount there. Why is that? All of these things that are elevated here could be because he's part of something like MK Ultra or something like that, some type of government experiment. And some of these things that I talked about, I showed those 2 videos recently where I talk about that stuff. And we know that's all going on. The government's admitted to it in the past. All that's going on, all kind of crazy experiments. Was it Naomi, MK Ultra, all kind of other ones. And it's interesting that all this is coming out because I didn't see this before I put up those videos where I talk about those possible tie that he has into some type of experiment that went wrong or bad that maybe even caused him to start shooting. I don't know. But yeah, all this stuff can affect your body and how you feel and everything. And if he agreed to or didn't agree to or whatever, some type of experiment, and things didn't go right, it could make him go off. And so that's what we're looking at here. And some of these elevated levels here are quite elevated and just not normal at all here. This arsenic, and you take a look at mercury here. This is one that really stands out to me. The result of mercury was 37. The limit should be 3.0. That's extremely high. Now, of course, the coroner And typically, doctors are going to try to play it down when you see something like this because they don't want to alarm somebody, or they don't want people to think, well, yep, there's the smoking bullet, and this is the reason the person did what they did. They're going to play that down. But I can tell you firsthand, mercury 37 is very high. You look at the limit 3.0, and this is found in his blood. Now, of course, if he was part of some type of experiment, that could be why that elevated mercury is there. Some type of government experiment. I think it can be elevated some by eating certain types of sushi. Of course, his brother Eric said that they ate thousands of dollars worth of sushi. And sushi can elevate it. But to elevate it that high, I really do not believe it could be elevated that high from just eating sushi. Even some of the types of sushi like shark and other types that have a higher level of mercury. And the reason I say that is because several years ago, and I mentioned that in one of my recent videos where I had my mercury tested. I wanted to see what it was. And it was, I think, like maybe a little bit over 3, maybe 4, if I remember right. I'd have to go look it up. But I know it wasn't extremely elevated. But when you're talking 37 and the limit's 3, my God, that's wow. That's a lot. That's 34 over. That's 30. That's many times. That's 34 over what your normal limit. That's a lot. So why does he have so much mercury in the blood? And we know mercury is toxic. It's poison, and enough of it can kill you. You know, we talk about how they find certain types of mercury in dental fillings, and of course it can be in fish, and they even put small amounts in the flu vaccines. That's why I stay away from the flu vaccines. But none of this, flu vaccines, eating fish, none of that should put that up that high. Something's strange about that right there also. And back when I was tested for that mercury a few years ago, I was eating, the reason I did the test is because for months I was eating sushi, a lot of sushi at a buffet every week. And I still eat quite a bit of sushi. But now I know what types of fish to watch for. And I try to stay away from the elevated types of mercury with the fish. But that's very high there. That's significant. Something's strange about that right there. And if you look down here, even lead, which of course lead can be lead poisoning. You get it from paint and different things. That's even kind of high, quite high. The normal is 0.50. He's got 7.3 on the lead. So that could also be because of some type of experiment or something that's going on with him. I don't know. That's high too. This just doesn't make any sense at all. And there's a few prescription drugs that you see in there. I don't know. At least that's what they're saying in there. But that is the report. That is my conclusion on this. Pretty much, my analysis. And wow, yeah, very interesting stuff here. And you can see the full report. I got a description. I have the link in the description here. You can go view all of it, every bit of it. Like and share this. This is incredible information. And what I'm exposing here is just mind-blowing. It really is. But together, we're going to get to the truth. You know it. We're going to stay on this, and one video at a time, we're taking back the world.